What's going on, everybody? Lib Thims here. Today we're going to look at the hieroglyphic symbols behind the word cursed, which in 1883 was defined as the hieroglyph for Christ, which was equated to the anointed Christ babe mummy shown on the right here from a cemetery in Rome made in 450 AD. So I made this article 2 years ago in HMopedia 65, but the image servers are down, so the source of this is hard to find. So 12 days ago, FXR Everwoo asked me, where did you find the picture glyph for the mummy? And I, off the top of my head, simply said that it's in one of these dozen Gerald Macy books and directed him to the link. So we're going to clarify that. Firstly, if we look at the hieroglyphic dictionary by Bill Petty from 2012, we see that there are several hieroglyphs related to cursed. We have KRS, meaning barrier or burial, KRSW, meaning coffin, cursed, meaning burial, and we have burial equipment. So we're going to focus on cursed, which has 3 different hieroglyphs according to Petty. We also see the Christ child as Egyptian mummy, page 437 from the second volume of Macy's Natural Genesis, written in 1883, where he says that the cursed, or Kerast, equals Christ, which equals the Egyptian mummy, comes from the Orion or Sahu constellation, symbolic of the risen dead in the stars. And he says it's related to the word incorporate or incorpse. And then the hieroglyph is this for Christ. Made of 4 symbols, which means embalmed mummy. And it goes on here to talk about how embalming relates to putting oil on the skin. And on page 131, he talks about how it relates to an older African tradition of putting fat or grease to preserve the skin so that the person will have a solid body in after existence. And he says Christ, or Kerast, is related to an older tradition that relates to the word Tann, as it's called in the Rig Veda, or Tahn, as it's called in Egypt, wherein the skin is tanned with oil or grease. And he cites one inscription from hieroglyphs that I have anointed the head, that of the god, with the oil of the face of Horus. I have filled the eye of Horus with oil. So now you can go to the Christ article in HMOpedia, and we're going to look at the three main hieroglyphs that we have for cursed. First is petty. His second hieroglyph. Then we have petty, the first cursed hieroglyph, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 symbols. And then we have what Macy used and is cited by Petty as the cursed, a third hieroglyph for cursed, which has 4 hieroglyphs. Now, this has been pretty much adopted through what's called underground etymology. For example, Malcolm Hutton in 2017, who's an Egyptian historian, says that cursed, as shown carved on the wall here, is or means or is described by the following 5 symbols, where the mouse symbol means R, this hill symbol sounds as KH, this S, which is the shepherd's crook, sounds as S, and the bread loaf symbol sounds as T, and then we have the Osiris burial chest shown here and also shown here. And this is corroborated by, here's Petty's dictionary, which we just looked at. So we have the main symbol here is the first one, but there's the second symbol for cursed, and there's the third hieroglyphic word for cursed in Egyptian hieroglyphs. So the first easiest symbol here is this one, Petty, cursed H2. We see the Osiris burial chest here, and then we see the bread loaf. Where this comes from, there is the Osiris burial chest, and here's what it looks like. So Osiris is trapped in the chest by his brother Set, and later he regrows into a tree. And after that, he is found again by Set. He's chopped into 14 pieces, thrown into the Nile, and each piece is sort of is symbolic of crops. So the crop, Osiris is a green-colored god, and so the crops grow into bread. So if we look at Osiris, we see is a green, and he's the god of flood, planting, and harvest. So first Nile floods, and then it leaves behind Keem, which is the root word of, it's carried down by the Ethiopian floodlands. It's a fertile black soil. The Egyptians plant their crops, and then the crops that grow are considered the body of Osiris, where the bread comes from. Thus we have the simplest hieroglyph for cursed is the Osiris chest, which turns into bread. Now Macy says that cursed comes from these 4 symbols, which he derives from first Jean Champolin's hieroglyphic dictionary, and